All right, feel free to take it away.
Hi Nina, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing okay.
How's everything been with you?
It's going pretty good. Been pretty busy with work and some other things going on, so.
Has work improved for you?
I would say a little bit. Um, Still been holding in some anger, but I feel a little bit better about things.
That's great to know. So explain that a little more in detail, how you've been holding with your anger.
Um, I feel that talking it out has been helping rather than just kind of like holding it in and externalizing it. So, yeah.
That's good. Do you feel a difference from doing that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And what else? Anything else new for you?
Um, yeah, I feel that I've been starting to connect with a friend, which has been good. So I actually met up with her over the weekend and we actually had a good time. So I was happy that we were able to do that as well.
That's good. So have you been reflecting on this when you're home with your friend?
Um, yeah, I would say so. Like I think that journaling has been a little helpful and just kind of thinking about, some progress that has been, I guess, being made for myself the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. And when you're journaling, how are you doing this? Are you doing it at night, day, like an actual journal or on your phone?
Yeah, I'm actually doing it at nighttime.
Okay.
Yeah, in a journal, yes.
Okay. And do you feel like that's been helping you maybe just to relax at night and just like calm yourself down for the day?
I think it's more of a way for me to kind of like look back on my day to see, maybe there were some things that went well, maybe there were some things that didn't go well, and like what I want to do to kind of, I guess, work on that.
So after you're done like journaling, what do you do with it? Do you actually like go over it with yourself or you just wait for the next day?
Normally I just kind of shut it down, kind of like having my phone almost, but like I shut
Okay.
the journal and then I just give myself a nice night to relax.
Okay. And then you've been feeling a lot better with doing this.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, that's good. And with doing this, like, do you feel like it's showing you a difference at work and like when you're doing other things as well?
Yeah, I think that it's a way for me to cope, I guess,
Okay.
instead of like letting my anger and frustration out on, I guess, people who don't really need it or deserve it.
Okay. So when you're feeling this less anger and everything like that, what do you would you like put on a scale 1 to 10 for like just like this week?
The anger that I felt,
Yeah,
maybe like
one
this
being the worst.
one being the worst,
Yeah.
maybe a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad. And anything else new with you?
Um, Not too much. I got to see a friend over the weekend. Um, Journaling a little bit. Um, oh, I contacted my brother too.
Okay. And how did that go?
It wasn't bad.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you feel like it was a source of like de-stressing?
Mm, I don't know about de-stressing necessarily, but I guess it was a good way for me to communicate better.
Okay. Are you guys meeting up with each other soon or are you just letting it be right now?
Yeah. I don't want to meet up with him yet,
Okay,
but
that's fine.
baby steps.
Okay. And how did that feel after the conversation?
I felt a little relieved.
Okay.
A little bit, not a lot, but just like a little bit.
Okay. And did you tell anyone else about this?
No.
Okay. So this is the first time you're speaking about it.
Yeah.
What was the conversation like?
Um, well, I was able to contact him and I wish him a happy birthday, which is why I contacted him. And then we were just catching up, nothing crazy. And then I heard his wife in the background and I was like,
Okay.
okay.
So in that moment, were you like happy that you had this conversation?
I was neutral.
Okay. Well, just totally understandable. And this
Yes.
is the first time you've talked in about how long?
Um, Maybe a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say a month.
And this is the brother that is married to your old friend, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Did you do any reflection on that after this conversation occurred?
um, I think so. Well, I know what happened actually. I went out with my friend that night. So I
Okay.
think I drank not a lot, but like a moderate amount,
Okay.
more than usual. Um, and then I Ubered home and I was going to, like, I think it came to my mind, but then I ended up smoking instead
Okay. And do you usually smoke?
when I'm stressed.
Okay. Not bad. So
Yeah.
when you were out in this public setting, how were you feeling?
I wasn't really thinking about it too much. Like, I was just having a good time with my girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it like you want to do that again soon or no?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay. Have you been talking daily, you and your friend, or just like once in a while?
I would say like every now and then.
Okay.
Not every day, just because she's a teacher and I'm working at this corporation, so it's busy. I mean, and it's the end of the year for her, so she's got to finish up like um work stuff and whatever the kids do for next year and stuff like
Yeah. Which is understanding. And you can always make a time or a date, something you guys can meet up again.
that. Yeah.
That's good. So you're kind of doing something new from what you usually do.
I mean, yeah, because I guess like I was isolating for a little bit, if that's what you call it,
Mhm.
and you know, keeping to myself.
How did that feel for you when you did that? You were stepping out of your comfort zone and now you're trying something new.
Um, it was kind of uncomfortable and like nerve-wracking at first.
Mhm. Which is understandable.
Yeah. And then I think once I like got there, of course, like when I started to drink, I felt a little bit more relaxed. But once I got there and we started to talk and catch up, like I started to like the nerves started to subside. Like I started to feel my anxiety going down a little bit.
Okay. And what would it look like if you guys weren't like at like a drinking place? You were just like somewhere that had like no alcohol beverages or anything like that.
I think that's possible. We actually spoke about that for the next time we get together.
Okay. And where were you guys thinking of?
I'm not sure. Maybe a coffee shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And going back to your brother, do you think maybe one day, I know you want to take baby steps, but would you want to meet him in like a coffee shop or something like that?
Um, maybe. Maybe. I'm not ruling it out, but
Okay.
you know, of course it's crossed my mind.
Yeah. What do you think is like the next step for you with your brother?
I think that um I don't know, maybe having a conversation.
Would you want to do that over the phone or in person?
I mean, I always feel like in person's better because I think that sometimes things can get a little misconstrued over the phone, whether it's text or phone calls. So of course, like I think in person's going to be better. He is really busy, so he's got a lot going on, but it's fine. I don't if we have to do it that way, it is what it is, but it's like it just gives me a lot of anxiety.
Yeah. Are you just having this anxiety to see him again? Because when's the last time you really seen him in person?
Last time I saw him in person was a month ago. Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you were together last time in person, was it just for something like a social gathering, or was it just something like a quick hi and bye, or what was it like?
We were actually at my grandmom's birthday party.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were your other brothers there as well?
Yes. My older brother, yeah, all three of them are
Okay. And how did you feel in that moment?
awkward.
Okay. Explain to me.
Well, it was like we were at like a long table and I was on one end with my parents, my grandmom, my grandfather. And then it was like my aunt, my uncle, my two cousins, and then my brothers, their wives slash girlfriends. So like we were there, but like we weren't.
Okay. I get what you're saying. So it was two different sides, and you really weren't having eye contact or really a whole conversation with them.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did anyone make comments about that? Or your family just stays mutual with the
No, they're pretty mutual. I felt off about it because it's just like awkward. Like I feel like we should have been next to each other and communicating and talking, and it was just like this empty, like obviously not empty, but it felt like an empty space between us.
Okay. Well, what if it looked like if you got up and went to go sit by them to start the conversation?
Even more awkward.
Okay. Okay. What
Yeah.
about if they did it to you like that?
I mean, I almost feel better because like it's me and then all of them. Like if they came over to me, I feel they're my older brothers. They should come over. I feel like they have some sort of responsibility to kind of like take care of me.
Okay. And do you feel like you have somewhat of a responsibility to have a relationship with them?
I mean, I think it's like one of those things where it goes both ways. Like I feel like I can't just be the one wanting a relationship. They should be having it too.
Yeah. And a relationship works both ways. Like you both have to put effort into having this relationship together. So I can see your point of view, but they might be thinking, oh, maybe we're not going to do it yet because she's not ready.
True. True.
Have you ever thought about it like that way?
Um, not really. Yeah.
And when you went home, did you do journaling that night?
No, I don't think I was really like into it at the time.
Okay. If you could journal that night right now, what would you think you would write down?
Probably how awkward it was.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not like awkwardness? Like, do you feel very uncomfortable when something is feeling awkward or something showing that type of way? Do you avoid it?
Yeah, I think. But I also think a lot of people do because I don't know, it's such an uncomfortable feeling,
Mhm.
you know?
I get that. So with the journaling, how has it been going? Like, what was like, if you want to give a little like detail what you wrote down last night or whenever was last time you journaled?
Um, Last night after work, I kind of wanted to give myself like a nice night to take care of myself.
Mhm.
So I put on a face mask and I watched my favorite TV show, took off my face mask, brushed my teeth, and then that's when I started to journal because I was like, I don't want to go on my phone right now. I don't want to be on Instagram. It was like 9:30 at night. I don't like sometimes when I'm on the social media before I go to sleep, I just feel like I get myself into a downward spiral. So I wanted to start doing something different. And then I thought about reading, but reading kind of bores me. So that's why I thought, you know what, let me do a little bit of journaling. And that's when I, was kind of working on it again. But I think it was more just reflecting about my day and my boss and just how I was feeling about the day. And I don't know, it felt it felt good.
And I like how you mentioned before how you were like, I want to not look at social media, and you're setting that boundary of, you know what, I'm putting my phone down. I'm going to do something else without screen time. And it sounded like too, like you had a really nice self-care night.
Yeah,
That's good.
needed that.
Yeah. And you deserve that too, to do it once in a while for yourself.
Thanks.
No problem. And also too, with your boss, have you guys had that conversation that you mentioned beforehand? We talked about it last time when you were saying that he came up to you and was like pointing out about your mood. Did you ever bring it up again to him or no?
No,
Okay.
I think it's like that level of respect thing.
Okay.
He was just, I don't know, annoying me last week, but
Maybe
we,
he was just having a bad week.
yeah, maybe he had a lot going on last week.
Yeah.
But
And we all have bad weeks.
yeah, I mean, we've been a little bit better this week, which is good. We have our ups and downs. I don't know. We have a weird relationship. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't.
And that's totally fine. Some relationships, you're going to have that up and down, and that's okay. That's just how a relationship can work at sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think that writing down your thoughts and your feelings in that journal is kind of helping you realize as well that like it's okay that the relationship is up and down with your boss? You just both have to have this respect for each other because end of the day, you're working together.
I mean, no, not until you said it. So I guess it's good to kind of like look into.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And going back when you were talking about how your anger's been really been not as bad as what it has been. What are you going to do for next week as well to keep this same like method and path you're going? Like you're journaling, you're doing all these things to watch your anger and all that type of stuff. How are you going to do that for the next week as well?
Well, I think that I have to just kind of take like an hour or maybe 30 minutes out of my day to just focus on me, whether that's journaling or like spending time with a girlfriend or somebody, or going to the mall.
Yeah. Maybe you need to prioritize yourself a little bit more. Because sometimes, working a full-time job can, it's a lot of hours. It's 40 hours a week. You're dedicating yourself to do all this stuff. And sometimes when you get home, whatever time you get home, it's really hard to limit it yourself to have some time just for yourself because you have to cook, you have to take a shower, you have to do whatever cleaning you need around your house if you're taking care of others. So it's really hard sometimes to prioritize your self-care or what you need is for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And at least you're setting some time out, like before you go to bed, you're doing your journaling, you're turning off your phone or whatever you're doing to not be on it and just to relax in that moment before you get your good night rest.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that.
Okay. And has that always been a problem for you in the past where like before going to bed, you're kind of like focusing on like 20 different things?
Sometimes. Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. And how's everything else been with you?
Pretty good, I guess. Yeah. I
Are
mean,
you looking forward to anything coming up with summer?
I might go down the shore at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know when.
Maybe invite your friend that you met up with recently.
Maybe I was actually gonna go with my parents. So
Okay.
I mean, if she's able to come down for a day, that'd be great. But she's got a husband and everything, so they have their own things going on. Um, so yeah, maybe I may just go down with my parents. I may end up going on a couple of day trips. But that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Anything else you're looking forward to?
Um, I think just being in the warm weather. I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been kind of cold.
Yeah. Maybe you can think of a self-care activity you want to do for the summer. So what else do you like to do besides just reading?
I like to go on walks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a long beach walk.
Yeah, I think I would like that.
Okay. And what else? Or just walking and reading?
Um, I'm not sure. Walking, reading, running, I guess. Going to a park, maybe a beach.
When you go down the shore with your parents, would you maybe do journaling on the beach at night before going to sleep?
I would like to. I don't think I'm going to though.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
not just a suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah. Something I'll think about.
How's your mood today? What's your level at?
And I'm sorry, you said on a scale of,
1 to 10.
and how are they rated?
1 is the worst, 10 is the best.
Maybe like a 6.
Can
Yeah.
you get into details a little bit?
I guess I feel a little relieved knowing that I talked to my brother over the weekend, and I'm happy that I was able to see my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And
2
then
really good things you did for yourself.
yeah, yeah. So
I do feel like you guys kind of came to a nice ending there, so we can kind of finish it off with that if you're both comfortable.
sure.
That cool with you, Demi?
Mhm.
Because I know you've got the lovely dentist. So
Yeah.
yes, let's does anybody have to like rush right now and get out of here?
No, I just have my consult's at 1:30, so I have an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you still want to
Um
record this, Lindsay?
yeah, let's record it just so we have it
Okay.
because I think the feedback is really helpful too, you know what I mean? And also when we kind of get what's the client's perspective, I think that's really valuable to people too. So
Sure.
so why don't I, before I give my feedback, why don't we go into your feedback, Nina, from the
Sure.
client's perspective?
Okay. So a couple things, Demi. I think that you were still gravitating towards the questions, not as much as last week, but you were still gravitating towards them a lot, especially in the beginning, but then you started to reflect more, which was good, right? Because once you make that connection with the client, that's when they're like, yeah, like that makes sense. Like when you started to reflect on a couple things, like when you said, We were talking about the dinner at one point. When we were talking about like social media and self-care, and you were like, yeah, like it's good to take care, like that's nice because it feels like the client's like, yeah, like they get me, like they understand where I'm coming from, like that's where that rapport really builds. I also like how you said explain to me instead of, asking more questions. Something that I also think that you could also work on is a little like empowering the client, like even saying something like, listen, Nina, I want you to know, like, you have a voice. Like, I want you to use it. If you feel like you are in this place right now where you're uncomfortable, like, tell me what that looks like. Like, is it confrontation? Is it, are you, fearful about how you say something or what you say, or, what the other person's going to respond and what's that going to look like? How are they going to feel? Like, it's really good to kind of pick the person's brain, but also give them that encouragement, like, you got this. Right. So like that's what we were always taught to, like empowerment, installation of hope. You want to have like bring a little bit of that hope to them too, because you want to give them that push, like you can do this. You know what I mean? Um, I also think you were working on utilizing silence more this session. Um, what else? I wrote down a couple of things. And you were using more of like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I understand, which was good too. Um, and other ways you can use that is, yeah, like I know what you mean. And like it's not a bad thing to, I know it's like a tedious situation. Like you could disclose some information about you, but not a lot. Like, let's just say you were like, yeah, like I know what you mean. Like I fight with my sister sometimes too. Like it's uncomfortable. I understand that. Like that's good. Not, but you don't want to go into detail where it's like, yeah, like me and my sister, we got into this fight and XYZ, you know what I mean? But just kind of showing them like, yeah, like I understand where you're coming from. I've been there before too. Like that makes them feel really good because it's like that universality that's going on. I noticed again, you use a lot of solution focused. Um, what else? What else? What else? There's a couple things, but I think they'll come back to me. But yeah, I would just say right now, you are working on staying away from like so much of like the question overload. So keep working at that because it can still, as the client, it could still feel like it can feel like a lot because it feels a little directed, like maybe too directed. And like again, you want to bring universality. Even if you were like, hey, like let's play a quick icebreaker right now. That's a good way to break things up. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah.
No, I like your feedback there, Nina. And can you tell us like how did you feel as a client today compared to like your feelings from the first session? Because I know you said in the first session, yes, like, and I was kind of giggling a little bit watching the first session because I do play a series for a lot of my graduate students, and it's common pitfalls that are made by early counselors, and this is one of them. It's the chronic question asking, and what happens is it gets people really agitated and irritated. And so we heard that a little bit from Nina last time. Nina very nicely said it was getting to me a little bit, but we
Mhm.
know most people like I've been a new counselor. Don't forget, it was over 10 years ago now, but I was once there. And I'll never forget the time that I over questioned somebody and they just got pissed. Like they were just pissed. Like they finally looked at me and they were like, what don't you understand? Or what are you trying to understand is my question. And I was like, I am so sorry if I offended you. I'm pretty new to this. I may have over questioned you. I realized like right away when I saw the look on her face, like she was pissed and it was with my questioning. But I think you did a really great job of transitioning away from that because again, your training and where you came from was question, question, question. So
Yeah.
you followed that model to kind of learn, luckily, the soft way that, okay, that's not really the way we want to go. And you changed your approach in a lot of ways from last time to this time. So first of all, you had a little background information. So you're able to check in from the last session, which was great. And then Nina brought up the journaling, but then you were very quick to notice, this is something that I suggested last time. Like, let me get the details. How's it going? How are you doing that? Like, and what are you doing with what you're journaling? Which is kind of a big deal because you're just writing stuff down to like purge it out of your mind and then throw it in a drawer, that's fine. But if you want to do something productive with it, you can do that as well. You know what I mean? So I think you could have maybe made that point there too, because I know you asked that question for that reason, right? You didn't ask like, what do you do with the journal after you're finished with it, just to ask the question. Like, it's because you can either throw it away, put it in the drawer, or you can do something with it. And sometimes we just want to let a client know, like, okay, so for you, you're kind of choosing to like put it in the drawer. It's the end of the day, like, and that's it until the next day. But what else could you do with it? How could you maybe take the things from your journal that you're seeing and kind of translate that into, I don't know, picking up as to where you might need to tune a little bit more into self-care, or maybe just having a conversation about what the journaling could look like, ways it could be altered. Maybe you could add a mood rating so you could track your mood over the week, because I think you suggested that last time too. And then I liked how you did say explain that to me. And I thought explain that to me was a little bit, it was perfect. It was what you were looking for, because you were just looking to basically say tell me more. But as a preference, I do like tell me more as opposed to explain to me, because I think that sometimes people can take that as like, what don't you understand? Like, what do you need me to explain? So I like to use the phrase tell me more about that, or especially when she said she called her brother. Whoa, I might have said, I know the last time we met, like you said, that was never happening. So tell me more about how that happened, you know? And also, even if you didn't want to take that direction, maybe just saying, whoa, like, that's a huge step. Like last time we talked, like you said, there's no chance hell could freeze over. You weren't going to talk to your brother, and you took the step to move forward and give him a call on his birthday. And I think that's a really big thing of you to do. How were you able to do that with all of these heavy conflicting emotions and feelings, because that too is solution focused, because it's saying, okay, how did you solve that and get past that dilemma? Because we're going to take your skills that you use to do that. And unfortunately here it was alcohol and marijuana, according to the client, right? Because she's like, I went out, I drank, and then I thought about calling, I smoked some pot, then I called. But we would hope it would be other skills, and we could kind of tune into those to say, okay, well, this could help you then in the future, right? When you're also trying to overcome these kinds of uncomfortable situations. So maybe also having the conversation later on, if it felt like it was appropriate, to say, listen, do you think you ever would have called your brother that day, even though it was his birthday, if you hadn't had a few drinks? Because then we're also talking about like, okay, like I think we got to get you to a place of feeling comfortable calling your brother to say happy birthday without a few drinks. But that's just my feeling on it. And again, like you're the expert of you, but it's something I'd like for you, you know. And then that's it. If they're like, well, I really don't care, okay, and okay. But if you ever change your mind, like I'm here and we can work on that too.
Yeah.
What else? I think some of what Nina was saying, like increased validation you could use. So again, like when she said she called her brother, whoa, like I can't imagine how hard that was for you last time you said this and this, right? So I think just validating anything, as even like when she said she was journaling, like, wow, like you really took, a lot of stuff we talked about in the last session and you ran with it. And that I'm really proud of that. Like, not everybody comes looking for help, but not everybody takes the tools that I'll give them and they go running with those. And you really did, and it sounds to me like it's been helpful to you. You're noticing that you're less angry at work. Sure. Could it just be that your boss is in a better mood this week? Sure. But at the surface, it could also be that you're in a better place this week because you have been taking care of yourself. You have been journaling, and I didn't make you do that. Like I suggested it, but you made yourself do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's it. I think you did a really good job, Demi, of like, because it's clear that like it was instilled in you, like question, 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 question. You know what I mean? And so what can you do? You only can do what you know. You know what I mean? What is like reinforced in you. And so we tried to like steer you a little differently. And it's clear that you're picking up on that very well and you're doing a good job with that. And I think you did use more silence during the session today, which I know it feels uncomfortable. Like I know because I'm a highly emotionally sensitive person. So I can pick up how you're both feeling. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little uncomfortable for Demi though, not for the client, which is the good thing. Like, yeah, it's maybe uncomfortable for an early counselor at first, but for the client, they're usually thinking during that time, or you know what I mean? So it's not like a silence, they're processing what's just been said, or they're thinking of what they want to say next, and so it was all fitting, and I liked how you also implemented that there.
Mhm.
All right.
How do you feel, Demi?
Better. I started realizing I kept saying questions, so I was like, I need to think other ways to say it.
That was
So,
good. No, you caught yourself, which was
yeah.
good.
And Demi, a good way to always get more details is to just say, wow, tell me more about that. Or, oh, like, tell me more. Like, so you wanted to know, like, about the journaling. You could have been, again, instead of saying, tell me, like, what are you doing with it? How are you doing it? Like, okay, so you've been journaling. Tell me more about that.
Mhm.
Right. Instead of the direct questioning. And then if you can even use paint me a picture. So you went, you saw your brother, paint me a picture of what that looked like for you. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And then you'll have somebody talking. Well, I went and I saw him and I felt this and I couldn't believe this and he was with her and it made me feel this. You know what I mean? And then it's like, then you've got a lot to work with,
Yeah, visualization.
Yeah. So let me stop the recording here. I think that was some good
Sure.
feedback. And again, really great mock session here.